curve, like where it's like, pretty much stable coin pairs only?
Yes, it's comparable to Curve because they were a very successful iteration of the feature, and we just figured it was a great idea. And it's just such a necessary thing because having launched stable, we were learning the curve, literally the curve of how to integrate monetary policy in a stable coin, and it's a really interesting education. So we figured that Algorand needed something like Curve to get all the stable coins running because there's going to be a lot soon. Guard, Expect are two more that are coming, and I'm sure there will be even more. So it seemed like a necessary thing. Yeah.
Most
So
definitely. I am also very excited to participate in that as well.
yeah, it's gonna be pretty cool. The Dex is gonna be an AMM, so um, it'll just be it'll just be cool because we're taking the banking portion of the DeFi and then integrating the trading portion and then the dollars portion as well. Um,
Wow.
and with so one stop, you're your own bank and you're your own broker, and I think it's just pretty cool.
Yeah,
So
that's the future. That's amazing.
yeah, so we're really trying to just get more offerings to people, like a lot more pools. There's probably going to be a stable algo pool at some point, but there's no exact date on that. So you'll be able to take your stable to algo uh, LP tokens and stake them in the platform as well. But again, we're still working on that. So yeah, just like there's going to be a lot more things coming, and it's I guess it's an exciting time in Algorand DeFi. There's so many amazing apps like popping up. Can't wait for everything to start like working in tandem. It's going to be super super cool.
I got to ask, are there going to be limit orders?
I don't know about that right now. I think it's mostly just market buys. I think integrating a limit order system into this kind of thing it's a whole nother undertaking. And
Yeah.
other than that, I don't really know. But yeah, I don't think so. I don't think that's happening yet.
No
When
worries.
bank
I'm just dying.
When bank will be when we launch the governance, because it's just you can't launch a token in the US without it being like an actual utility used for something, and that has to be the voting.
Yeah,
So
you can't jump the gun on that.
no, not at all, and especially because Algofy, we really want to build something meaningful and long term, and it's just not worth it to rush the token. So yeah, we just have to build out the system for governance and actually make sure it's a completely functional DAO, and then we'll get around to the token after that.
heard. I'm excited either way.
I mean, I think a bunch of people are working on the DAO systems on Algorand right now. There's got to
Yeah,
be. So,
Xpac is building a bunch of SDKs for everyone to use.
okay.
What did the headline just release? They released some kind of like blueprint or something, right, for DAO creation?
I got to use their private testnet. The only thing they got, for everyone to use right now is just the vault and the minting system. But it's really clean. I do like their dashboard better than Algofy's, because when I do take margin, it tells me the exact price I'll get liquidated and everything. I made a video about it, but I haven't seen any of the SDKs or anything. They haven't showed nothing like that yet.
Yeah, that's definitely where I think it really starts impacting the community, making it much easier.
Yeah, I'm excited for Headline's Algo Cloud. It's like full integration platform for kind of like a DeFi suite. I think I saw a screenshot of it, and yeah, it's good. It's just going to be a big product for them, so it's going to be cool.
I see the community now coming. I see Patrick, Shamir, Stacy. Yeah, Thomas. Jump in, please. How are you
Yeah,
doing?
can you guys jump in here? Let's get some more speakers up. Don't need to be so shy.
Bryce.
I would like to invite any company or any builder who wants to talk right now to please join us. This is kind of your time. It's not ours.
I know Shamir is part of the group that's going to ETH Denver. I'd love to hear some more about the ETH Denver activities and how Algorand is sponsoring that, and what that means for Algorand as we raise our awareness level for other crypto communities. I think that's a cool aspect.
It's going to be awesome. I'm super excited about it.
Hey everybody.
Yeah, I'm going to ETH Denver too. It's going to be great.
Hey everybody, this is Mehmet Choralic here with Algorithm Finance. Glad to be here on this Twitter space with the Algofam chat. Just wanted to quickly talk about...
Hi, my friend.
Hi, how you doing, Bilal?
Awesome, and you?
I'm doing great. Let me know if there is too much wind in the background. I'm actually outside right now and it's super windy here in Miami.
No, it's perfect.
Okay, good.
Sounds perfect.
So yeah, I just kind of wanted to talk a little bit about Algorithm and introduce it to the rest of you who aren't so familiar with it. Essentially, what we're doing at Algorithm is we are looking to become a direct extension of Algorand, further expanding DeFi, but also providing more DeFi projects on top of Algorand. So what that all means is one of our first products that we're going to be launching is a launchpad itself. So we're going to be creating this launchpad, and we're going to be really looking to build out the Algorand community. But we also have a really cool NFT that we're releasing by the name of Cypher. So that's going to be directly correlated with the launchpad itself, as well as the IDOs coming on top of our launchpad platform. So lots of stuff that we're going to be bringing to the community. We're currently in talks with some very important VCs that are part of Algorand, and we've actually also applied for the Algorand Foundation. So we're making a lot of developments in the back end, and I'm really excited to share all these news with the community in upcoming announcements and posts.
Awesome.
Welcome to the community.
Thank you guys.
Can you tell us more about the launchpad? Like, does it has something specific or special?
Well, essentially what we're doing is we really see that we need to build out Algorand and provide more users to the community itself. So our launchpad is going to function in a somewhat unique way where our token and the actual allocation staking is going to occur on Ethereum. And the token distribution will occur on Algorand. So we take the Ethereum community, we essentially bring them over to Algorand, and then those tokens are redistributed to the Algorand community itself. So it's a growth for the ecosystem, as well as capturing the Ethereum community members themselves. And we're working with developers at the moment right now. We've got our in-house developers, but we're also working with some developers from the Algorand side to integrate this properly and so that it can function without any kind of hiccups.
Wow, that is the year of bridges, right?
Exactly.
And you will bring so much liquidity to Algorand. That's amazing.
That's the high hopes for it, exactly. And to your point, this is the year of bridges and cross-chain integration. So we really want to capitalize on this, and we see this as really setting the stage for DeFi 2.0 as well as Web3 advancements.
Are you part of the Algorand Accelerator down in Miami?
No, I'm not. No, we went down to the Decipher conference and we met a lot of great people down here. We have some connections that we're working with right now, but not part of the accelerator, no. But our platform itself is somewhat an incubator accelerator program.
That's great to hear.
But yeah, just wanted to introduce myself, and I hope you guys check out our Twitter page and our Telegram, as well as our Medium channel. We've got some great announcements there, some great information. We've actually spoken with Ibu before on a video chat, as well as Monty. So the community has really embraced us. So I want to thank everybody for that. And we're really looking forward to working with all of you on a much more deeper and personal level.
Yeah, great to have you here. Nice to see you again. I want to ask you, like, give it 3 years, what's your vision for Algorithm, and like, you know, how have you made a splash in the Algorand ecosystem? Like, what's the longer term, like past the launchpad? what's your ideal product that you would like to build?
Yeah, that's a great question. So one of the biggest things for us, as I mentioned, is really growing that ecosystem and providing more user base to Algorand. With that comes a much larger increase of TVL. So that's one of our big hopes, as well as providing unique and innovative projects, whether they be startups from regular individuals, or whether they be projects that are more focused with institutions. So we really want to provide these kinds of projects to not only Algorand, but to the cryptoverse in itself. So it's large scale adoption really, and ultimately becoming a true direct extension of Algorand. So our high hopes are that when someone thinks of Algorand, that they think of algorithm finance, and that they can come onto our platform, that they can incubate their projects, that they can obtain some various NFTs that we'll keep rolling out, as well as learn about algorithm, as well as learn about Algorand itself, as well as learning about the various projects that are part of Algorand. One of the things that we're doing now is we're releasing weekly quizzes within our Telegram community, and a point that we want to stress is all of the various projects that are part of Algorand. Just last week, we mentioned Algofam in the quiz. We're mentioning various different projects that are coming out on Algorand. So it's a lot of exposure that we also want to provide with our platform. But I think ultimately right now, just really quick, I think ultimately right now, our focus, yes, we do have to have this long-term plan and the long-term goals, but we also do believe that the short-term goals that we capitalize on and succeed within are really going to provide these long-term goals to come to fruition. So right now, a lot of our focus is on building out the community. Like I said, we are working with our development team to actually create the Launchpad in itself. So, you know, we are looking to release these, to list and to release within Q1 of 2022.
So just to clarify, are we talking Algorand or Ethereum? What platform are you focusing on?
Mm-hmm. So we are focusing on Algorand, but we are obtaining a large community base from Ethereum. So as I said, the AGR token and the Launchpad, as well as the allocation staking, will all function on the Ethereum side, but the token distribution will be on the Algorand side. So in a way, we've kind of coined and termed ourselves the double agent of Algorand, and then that way we kind of seek to take that Ethereum community and bring them over to Algorand.
So when it comes to bringing that community over, how are you going to get them over? What's the incentive for them to come over here?
Just the amazing projects that we provide on our platform, on Algorand, and on top of our Launchpad. It's a lot of marketing, of course. We've got some great KOLs that we work with, and we've got some great VCs in the pipeline, as well as VCs that are working with us currently. So it's a lot of marketing in that way, bringing those community members over, as well as expressing the narrative in a positive way, so that they can see that Algorand does have amazing projects. It's just that at the moment, it seems that we don't have enough exposure for these projects to really take off and be a part of a large scale.
Yeah, I think he got some connectivity problems. Yeah, we could hear the birds.
I'm sorry,
not
I keep cutting out. I'm sorry. Can you hear me now? Is that better?
Yeah, we can hear you. Can you repeat, please?
Yes. I apologize about that. So as I was saying, the Ethereum side will come in, as that's where our AGR token will function as an ERC20 token, as well as the Launchpad. It will be functioning within Ethereum. But when the token distribution occurs, that will be occurring on the Algorand side. And the way we're going to provide, or that way we're going to obtain these Ethereum community members to come onto Algorand, is through the great projects that we launch on Algorithm that are built on Algorand. So we want to provide that exposure to these Ethereum community members and bring them over. And in this way, we're going to be able to accomplish this through strong, effective marketing and really pushing the narrative of what we're doing at Algorithm.
Awesome, awesome. It's almost like talking to Alex from AlgoDex. He constantly has the birds surrounding him.
He does, doesn't he? Yes.
It does, it does.
We're very nature friendly
Sounds-
at Algorithm and Algorand.
Yeah, we love nature. Oyster, please jump in.
Yeah. Hi. I get a question for Algorithm there. I'm not sold on this strategy. I don't see how building a launchpad and staking platform on Ethereum is going to drive Ethereum apps to build on Algorand, or users come over to Algorand. I'm not even sure how technically that would work in a decentralized manner. I mean, if you can explain that. But I mean, I to be honest, I hear a lot of this buzz, interoperability, bridging, bring over Ethereum. So I'm not sold. So try to sell me. I don't get it.
Yeah, I understand, and thanks for bringing that up. I mean, we do see a rise in bridges and interoperability being at the focus of how DeFi is functioning in its current state, and even Algorand is seeking to provide further interoperability. So, as I said, the community will be taken from Ethereum as the token is a ERC20 as well as the launchpad. The projects will be built essentially on Ethereum, but the token distribution, once this project, let's say this project hits 100x, if you were to put in your investment on the Ethereum side, the project hits 100x, you're receiving that distribution in ALGO. And so that is going to create the increase in TVL on the Algorand side, but it will also increase the brand recognition and the brand image of Algorand, so that more projects can be housed on the Algorithm Launchpad for the Algorand ecosystem. But to that point, like I said, we are working with developers, and they are far more tech.
How big is your development team?
We've got an in-house development team of 3 developers currently, but we are, like I said, we are working with another development team that's actually part of various Algorand buildouts, and they've got 3,000 employees. Okay, obviously, we're not working with 3,000 employees.
But who is that company?
At the moment, I can't disclose that information. We haven't created an official contract, but it is an announcement that we are very excited to share soon. So I definitely do advise to be on the lookout for that.
Something you plan to launch in this quarter, a launchpad and staking platform on Ethereum, and a team that you haven't put together yet. And
no, you can't say we haven't put the team together. We have an in-house development team.
Oyster, you're a bit too.
What I'm hearing is, like I said, it's you're still in negotiations and contracts. I mean, again, I'm not sold at all.
Algorithm, we're all here cheering for you. You know, where some people are a little bit more critical than others, but we wish you the best of luck. And if there's anything at all we can actually help to make this happen, we're all here for you.
Yeah,
I do appreciate that, and I can understand.
This seems like a. Oh, sorry.
No, I was just gonna say I can understand where some people may have a confusion, but you know, like I said, we do have an in-house development team. Our team is working. We are making the connections with various Algorand developers. We also have another meeting with an Algorand developer this coming week. So the development and the building is happening. And we are fairly new to the space. So in the amount of time since we've came to fruition and since we came public, we've made quite a lot of developments. So if there is confusion now, I do respect it, but we will be addressing that confusion, and we will be advising the community on what we're doing specifically. So please be on the lookout for that.
But
Yeah,
Oyster is a bit hard in general. So
yeah,
I know Oyster has a lot of he's very critical in general.
I don't have the rosy glasses I put on the the Columbo glasses.
Hey,
Yeah,
and I
I know.
respect
You
that. I
often do
respect
that.
that.
I know. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
question for
Well,
algorithm.
best of luck.
Sorry, I just think this is
Evan,
important to
please.
clarify. Did you say that the projects that you're launchpadding are actually building on Algo as well, or they're building on Ethereum?
They're building on Ethereum. They are our token, AGR token, is ERC20, and the projects are also building through the Ethereum network.
So does that mean Polygon, or like literally building on Ethereum?
Ethereum, correct? Yeah. I mean, even if it's a layer 2, we will have that integration involved.
Yeah, we sound a little bit too much like some cops checking the project. And my friend,
No,
let's just relax a little bit.
Listen, Bilal,
we
with all due respect, we should be able to ask questions.
yes.
ex-
I appreciate these questions.
Yeah,
If
but
you're incentivizing growth on layer 1 Ethereum, do you really think that's the most scalable way you could go?
I'm sorry, I kind of you kind of cut off. Ibu, what? Can you repeat that?
I said, if you're incentivizing building on layer 1 Ethereum, do you really believe
Mhm.
that's the most scalable way to grow algorithm?
So that is something that we are looking into. I mean, with our development team, we are trying to see if it's wise to build just on layer 1, or if we should integrate more onto layer 2 blockchains. So we have to see what's going on with that. Like I said, I'm not the most technical person when it comes to that. So we have a development team.
I think just some feedback. I think at this point in the game, you're really going to want to harbor growth on platforms that are the future, not the past. You never want to invest based on historical information, which would be Ethereum at this point. So I would highly recommend pivoting to just building out an algo. I think the launchpad on ETH makes sense because that's a huge audience of people that you could then grow and kind of bring over here, and maybe they don't even realize that they're investing on things built on a better chain, but you sell them on it on that platform. But just distributing the token on Algo because it's easy, because we all know ASAs are really easy to deploy, but still supporting growth on the ETH layer 1. I just think that layer 1 isn't sustainable for what people really need in projects. So I don't think the projects you're going to end up launching are going to really serve a huge purpose. I'm not trying to be harsh.
To be fair though, I feel like you got to start them somewhere. They're building on Ethereum now, and they haven't heard of Algorand potentially. So giving them a token seems like an easy way to get their attention at least, right? And then now they have a token, and they see that the token itself is moving quickly. They're incented to then check on the token, check on where they can sell that token, etc. I don't know. I think there's some merit there. And it also seems like an interesting way to potentially, down the line, demonstrate state proofs, right? Like you have the token itself is on Algorand, even if the project itself isn't. And that would be a cool demonstration of state proofs, like showing people that you can prove that the. So I don't know. I think there's some merit.
That's a very good point. Yeah, and we've thought about state proofs when obviously we've continued our build. So it is an interesting and innovative way to approach it. We are excited for it, and as I said, we will definitely keep everyone posted with these developments. But I really do appreciate everyone's recommendations and feedback. I truly do.
So listen, from my perspective, we have a launchpad, layer 1, built purely on Algorand, and we welcome and appreciate all initiatives from around the world, from whatever protocol that is awesome. So I salute you.
Thank you, my good sir. I appreciate you.
Emmanuel, please. You were raising your hand.
Yeah, hi Bilal, hi everyone. I too was kind of on the same kind of trajectory as was it the oyster person? But then there is a real way where you can actually still get the Ethereum community involved in Algorand without, you know, dedicating all of the development onto Ethereum explicitly. So I don't know if you've heard about the Milkometer project, the Milkometer protocol.
Yes, yes.
Good. So why not focus your resources on developing on the Milkometer protocol, which actually uses Algo as the base asset, while still benefiting from an EVM environment? Because essentially, to me, it sounds like you're just benefiting from the ease of use of Solidity to do certain things, and the rest is all marketing. ASAs, yes, that's also easy to deploy. So you can win it all if you just stay within the Algorand domain, if you just look at what is being made available. So when folks like Oyster come with that critical kind of aspect of things, it's because he probably knows what is out there. So why isn't Algorithm considering, like, it sounds like you're familiar with Milkometer, so why isn't Algorithm, considering Milkometer at least? That way everything stays within the Algorand ecosystem. And Algorand, rollup, which has EVM compatibility, all in Algo, and all everyone in Ethereum has to do is literally go to MetaMask, check your configurations, and switch to Algorand, the Algorand sidechain, the Milkometer A1 sidechain rollup for Algorand. Because that's the easiest way. The simplest
Yes.
life people live on Ethereum is literally switching their networks from Polygon, Arbitrum, Optimism. Literally tap into Algorand's rollup that is EVM compatible is a no-brainer. So I'm curious to see where you're all coming from that.
Yeah, and thanks for bringing Milkometer up. We've actually looked into it not too long ago, so it is kind of a new thing we came across, Milkometer. So we might be looking to integrate that. As I said earlier, we are considering a layer 2. So definitely, that is on the horizon and could very well be a possibility as soon as we kind of hash out the details with our development team.
Please, Emmanuel, could you explain a little bit more? Because I never heard of this, and that sounds amazing. Can you explain a little bit more how it works, please?
Yeah, totally. So Milkometer, it's called the Milkometer protocol, and essentially its current goal is to provide EVM capability to non-EVM blockchains. So Solana, Algorand, Cardano, Terra. Essentially, the goal is to build platforms that offer EVM compatibility. So, for example, today when people think of L2s, they just think of scalability. But then layer 2 solutions are not just to scale a network; it's to do other things in a more focused manner. You can have a layer 2 solution for identity. You can have a layer 2 solution for for storage. You can have a layer 2 solution for messaging or communication. And with the case of Milkometer, it's a layer 2 solution for essentially compatibility. Think of Ethereum, or think of the EVM as an Xbox and the Algorand network and its computation stack as a PlayStation. If you wanted to play Xbox games on PlayStation, you technically cannot. But Algorand, Milkometer, you can think of as like a piece of hardware that you plug into your PlayStation and lets you play Xbox games on your PlayStation. So essentially, you still get to build Ethereum dApps on Algorand, in the Algorand ecosystem, while still using the base assets Algo as your transaction fee, asset, that kind of thing. So everything still stays within the Algorand ecosystem.
That's amazing. It's really interesting. If you have some link to share to the community, that would be, I think, very helpful.
Yeah, no, we'll be putting out more information in the coming days to weeks. So expect more of that. But for now, you can go to milkometer_com, and you can, let me see if I can share something.
That's super interesting.
Do you work for Milkometer?
I work for DC Spark. So DC Spark is the company that is contributing to the development process of Milkometer. So essentially, Milkometer will be a coalition of different development teams building into that infrastructure. So it's not just DC Spark, but currently we are the active developers for that particular open source protocol.
Got you. I have one more question. So if you connect MetaMask to Algorand, my question is, do you transfer that gas fee, and do you still pay MetaMask Ethereum gas fees, or are you kind of upgraded to the Algorand transaction fee?
You pay completely in Algo, simply because the plan for Algo is to produce a rollup. So with rollups, essentially, you're still sticking to consensus and data availability all on the Algorand base network, and execution is focused in the rollup system. In this case, this rollup system is an EVM environment. So you're paying everything in Algo. You're literally in MetaMask and you're using Algo. Think of Avalanche's C chain. That's essentially it.
That's so cool. That's so cool.
But it would still be as expensive as Ethereum. You would just be paying an algo, correct?
Not quite. Two thins. Well, just one thin. It's a roll up. That's the thing. Roll ups are built to really be more efficient, tenfold more efficient. Plus, algo is like super cheap, so that makes it extra efficient.
What
So
is the price?
You come again?
I don't get what the price has to do with it.
No. When I say algo cheap, I don't mean as in the price of algo, as in the token cheap, as in doing transactions
the
on
transaction fees.
Algorand. Yes.
Yeah,
It's relatively cheap.
I'm just simply asking, will the fees of Milkamita, if you connect your Algorand wallet?
I can probably actually give a little bit more technical information about Milkamita. So really what it is that there's two ways that they connect to chains. There's the roll-ups, and then there's completely different side chains. And I'm not sure exactly what Nico and Sebastian have decided for Algorand yet to start with. But a roll-up is just it's a separate server or a separate network of servers, or most likely a server, that's all of the transactions happen on that. And then there's a roll-up bridge to the actual Algorand network that batches together the transactions and sends over a proof to say this is what happened on that on the roll-up. And then what happens then is that if there is a discrepancy, there is a challenge period to be able to challenge what happened. On a sidechain model, it is a completely different sidechain, or a completely different chain that would be the EVM model that has the ability to bridge to Algorand directly. This is actually not Ethereum at all. They're not. This is not actually ran on Ethereum. It's either the Milkamita network or the Milkamita rollup system.
Gotcha. Okay. Thanks for that. It sounds like a super useful thing. And I love how they're doing all the non-EVM chains and bringing EVM to that. That seems to be one of the biggest pain points for developers to come over to Algo, is that Teal is a lot harder to learn. So yeah, I think it sounds like a cool product.
Yeah, and basically once Algorand gets Milkamita, Algorand has at least as many developers as all the developers on Ethereum, basically, because anyone who can write Solidity can now build in the Algorand ecosystem.
Yeah, I think that a solution like this is a great temporary solution, but the long-term solution is bringing all of the developers in the world into Algorand, not just Ethereum developers. But like I said, this is actually a great temporary solution for anybody that would say, "Hey, I am already built on Ethereum. I just want to transition my application over."
You guys saw NF domains raised around this week. I think 1.5 million from Borderless Investing. So
if we only had somebody as a speaker that could talk about it. Patrick.
Hey guys.
So Patrick,
cool.
tell us a little about the raise, and like, what are you, how are you feeling about the future going forward for NF domains?
Yeah, I mean, the raise was a little while ago, actually. It's a matter of just, all the I's and T's and stuff, and just, getting around to actually getting announced. So, foundation grant, the raise was a little bit ago. But yeah, it's just a matter of, everything being lined up to, have releases, have, people review them, and have an awesome team put out, great copy and design work. But yeah, it's just exciting to kind of get that message out to everybody.
Did you set up the ping pong table yet, or that's not yet?
No, it's pretty much we're all remote, so it's just what our perspective, chairs, couches, or desks, that we're at, day and night. I will say, like, we'll have to have kind of like a team get together, when we launch on mainnet or something like that. We'll definitely have to have a kind of a company party of sorts for you all to get together.
So, Patrick, can you explain a little bit about the perspective from NFTs, how you see it going forward?
It is in terms of just generally how they work, or like
Patrick, don't get too technical.
Yeah, well, the commercial side.
I mean, in terms of like how they would be used potentially by businesses and things, or
Yes, sir.
well, I think there's a lot of possibilities because the NFTs will actually be standalone accounts unto themselves. So when you kind of buy an NFT, you will own that. The resell of that NFT, transferring ownership, that's all, and taking the payments, paying like, a commission, things like that is all handled by the NFT itself because it's actually an Algorand account. So, so purchasing the NFT from someone else, you're really paying the NFT itself to buy it. And then it handles through intertransactions distribution of the payment to the seller and commission if as appropriate. So the key there is that with the NFT being its own account, it can act as a kind of like delegated intermediary potentially in transactions in the future, which gets really cool. But just even outside of that, without even getting to them being their own accounts, for business cases, I think the fact that NFTs will support both forward and reverse resolution. So I can go from Patrick.algo to a list of addresses that I control and that it has verified that I actually do control. It's not just you entering a string in. And then somebody can also take any address and say, what NFD does this address, is this address referenced by? So that means any transaction, like you could be a business accepting algo payments, and you could then look at just who sent to algo and resolve that back to, if they wanted to expose that, obviously they have to choose to do it, but you could resolve that back to identification of the sender. So you could accept payments as a business or like a nonprofit, purely just by someone sending you algo, and be able to resolve back to know, oh, this is Patrick Bennett, and this is his Twitter handle, this is his Facebook profile, stuff like that. So all the sort of things that like a nonprofit would want as a part of donor lists, they could get that purely just by receiving algo and nothing else.
That's awesome.
So it's fantastic.
So what if could someone like just purchase like 1,000.algo domains, or sorry, NFTs?
Of course, I mean they're going to pay for it. They're not free.
So do you expect some sort of trading
absolutely.
within? Okay.
Yeah. I mean, I fully hope. I mean, because our current plan is when you purchase an NFT, you're not leasing it. The intent is that you own it, but the current plan the contracts is that there will be, for secondary sales, a commission that goes to Transaction Lab of, I think the current plan is around 2.5%. I think that it's open seas rate. It seems like a good low number. That's it basically is just kind of just isn't really an issue for users. It's less than like what Coinbase charges you for trading, right?
Got it.
And then that would be basically to help cover our recurring costs, because we're not extracting like an annual fee out of the NFTs. So with a secondary market, that's a way of kind of getting some money back in to help pay for the not insignificant recurring cost of all the hosting, because we will have significant APIs that I plan to be globally replicated and cached. So if someone's hitting our APIs, they can do it all on chain if they want, but realistically, 99% of people, are going to hit the APIs. So if you want to resolve a name or do a reverse lookup, I want that API to be really fast, really efficient for everything. And so I kind of got a plan for millions and millions of hits pretty regularly. So that costs money.
Hey, Patrick, I already told John this, but I'll just let you know as well that, and I was really would like to actually know your thoughts on how you protect me against this, is that I recently started going by the nickname of Silvio. So I want Silvio.algo. So that since that's really what I'm known as, how do I prevent anybody else getting that?
How do you go into a hospital and prevent someone from naming their baby after you?
Is there any way that you are preventing like well-known people that have certain names to get their actual their
I mean,
algo?
these are hard, honestly, these are kind of hard problems. I mean, like I think in the future there could be maybe some interesting things where like you have like DAO votes on the community voting for who has the official rights to certain things. But generically, like we're still discussing this, because you start getting like trademarks and stuff. I think like someone's name, honestly, that's the least of my concerns. I think more interesting is the legal realities of like trademarks, right? It's like
Yeah. What if someone gets Coca-Cola algo?
No, I mean, but it gets worse than that, right? Like just do it, .algo, right? Is now that all of a sudden you're going against Nike, right? Like is you got millions and millions and millions of words as part of word marks and trademarks, which are phrases in many cases. So it's like all of a sudden you've got like hundreds of millions of words locked up because someone trademarked it 6 years ago and has it on the side of a coffee cup. I don't. It's like, how far do you go? And
will you have a clawback feature to be able to take back certain names from people?
Not like implicitly, but I mean the contracts because so much is changing in Algorand will definitely be upgradable. So if I don't know. I don't know how we resolve that, and that's something that I'm kind of going to be tasking, the team and myself to kind of try to figure out how to handle that while also, making sure that we don't set ourselves up for litigation nightmares.
Well, you can't handle that. I mean, I can claim whatever name I want to claim, and if I can buy it, I'll buy it. And afterwards, I mean, Coca-Cola or whoever might want to sue me, they can come with their claim, but it is nothing. It has nothing to do with an NFT at all.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know if that's the thing is, and you've got a company with billions and billions of dollars, and you literally have.
It doesn't really matter. It doesn't really matter because you run a layer 1 service on Algorand, and that is a .algo service. So if they want to claim it, and I took Coca-Cola or whatever I took, that is a significant brand name worldwide, they would have to address me, not you. You are basically just facilitating a service. I would be the one who is claiming whatever name, and it would be something between me and whoever claimed to be the rightful owner.
So there's going to be courts issuing subpoenas to wallets to summon them to court, and
well, as I said, I don't think so, because it will, again, this is a new world. This is Web3. Who owns what and why? That eventually will end up in court, obviously.
Yeah, lawyers don't care. I mean, and then
we don't care. This is decentralized. This is decentralized.
But courts aren't decentralized, right? I mean,
so
it's easy.
I mean, I think one of the only things that I would be concerned about is that having an upgradable contract, you actually have the power to change things. So, like, if there's like, you could be served with a takedown notice, and since you do actually have power to change things, you could be responsible for having to actually change the code.
Yeah, I mean, there's pros and cons, but I mean, there's already so many things that that are on deck for Algorand, and then for so many things that we have planned for NFTs, then to basically throw away the key on something that is specifically meant to be expanded with features, then I'm not going to do it. Because I think the utility for the ecosystem outweighs the kind of purity, I guess, of a single launch contract.
Would it be like would it be crazy to come up with this, like where the contracts in their version 1 state, like you can't upgrade them themselves, but you could at some point release, if you come up with some new critical functionality, you could release like a new .algo protocol, and people, if they want, they can switch over to the new set of smart contracts.
But then it's a nuanced thing, and this is actually what's it's kind of ironic that I actually talked to I actually was on the side talking to in DMs to John Gennady at Algorand this morning actually about this, is in AVM 1.1, and this is also why you don't want to lock it, because this stuff is constantly changing, and even like the limitations of individual accounts and how you might structure things is such that you might really want to change a bit. But in AVM 1.1, inner transactions of a contract can issue contract, create, and update transactions. So what I could do is make it so that the global registry contract, which would be one, would have the code for the NFT contracts. And because, like I said, I've made it tougher for myself, but great for the users, in that each NFT is a distinct independent contract. So there is a gating function where the contract has to be created, and then it has to know, oh, it's this application ID, and then from that you can derive the account through a hash. But what I can do is make it so the registry contract is actually what creates the NFT contracts. And then I could put in, like, okay, now it's version 2 of NFTs into the registry contract. And then you, as the owner of NFT, could, in a sense, opt in to upgrade your NFT contract, so that you could then have your NFT, you would make a transaction call to the registry contract saying, hey, upgrade this NFT that I own. And then it would upgrade the contract of your NFT in place. That gets interesting. But
Patrick,
you can allow that.
You and I disagree quite a bit about the upgradable feature. And in my opinion, upgradable contracts is decentralization theater. If somebody has the keys to completely change anything, that means that they have full power of doing anything.
Yeah. You have your view.
I mean, to be very clear, I'm not saying that upgradable contracts aren't good for something, but saying something's decentralized when the contract itself is upgradable is not true.
Yeah, agree.
Yeah, I mean, that's part of it. It's kind of the pros and cons of it, right? And it's not something that is hidden, right?
Yeah, but I think everything is in the making right now, and it's very exciting, and I love what you guys are doing. And to be very fair and honest, I think you should just go with the flow at this stage, and we'll figure it out going forward.
Yeah, I mean, the problem with a lot of these things is like in terms of trademarks and things like that, it's easy, just like tokens, right? Everyone loves tokens as long as they're not the ones on the hook legally with the government, right? It's like easy for
I agree, but let's take 20 years. Let's look 20 years back on domain services. Sex.com as an example, right? A lot of domains were registered. Even Google lost their google.com at one point, and they had to pay for it to get it back. So if you look at I mean, so if you have a registered trademark and it's a global registered trademark, it doesn't really matter what tech stack you are involved in. It is a global registered trademark. However, right now, this is again very early stage, and there will be a lot of ups and downs, and eventually we'll work it out one way or the other. And the owners of the registered trademarks will want to participate in figuring out solutions going forward. I'm pretty sure.
I have just one simple question to try to understand the thing. Patrick, can a court ask you to transfer one domain to another entity?
I mean, they certainly could ask. I mean, that's the problem is, and that is to be frank, that is one thing that having upgradable contracts potentially does expose you to, right? So it's really tough because it's easy to take kind of the moral high ground and say this is all open and fair, and you can register this. This is just state on the blockchain. This is not an ad in Times Square competing against Coca-Cola. But it doesn't stop from companies with billions and billions of dollars from bankrupting real live people with a simple email to their law firms. So that's that's something that has to be considered, and we just had to talk to legal counsel on our side and figure out how much exposure we really would have and how much could reasonably be deferred.
Yeah, and it's also tough because as a US based company, right? Like you're a US based company.
Exactly.
Yeah, and so if you have the ability to change them, it'll be a lot easier for them to subpoena you than it will be for them to subpoena a pseudonymous wallet address that could be in Antarctica.
Right. Well, I mean, obviously, if users, you'll be able to put verified data into your NFT. You don't have to. But if people had done that, then obviously the information is there to go, oh, that's this Twitter user or this Facebook user or whatever. But I know Unstoppable Domains actually has a process where they basically just say it can be permissionlessly transferred in a. So basically, they're basically saying if there's a trademark, they have a whole form of if you want to claim this trademark, then you have to pay a processing fee to review the request, and then they will fix it, whatever that means. They kind of do a little hand waving as far as what that really means, but it kind of seems like Unstoppable just blocks out any obvious trademarks where you can't even just get it at all, and then they force people to claim it and prove it.
It kind of seems like a safer way to go, at least. I don't know. That way makes sense to me.
Yeah, I mean
personally.
that would be the safest, but I mean it's how far do you go? I mean, do you phrases as well? I mean, every company name, every phrase, everything in the USPTO wordmark database. I mean, good God, that would be large.
Awesome.
Seems to me like you don't got to reinvent the wheel here, right? I mean, you do. There is a blueprint to follow in some sort because it's not an Algorand specific blockchain, issue. So there are some other folks who have done this, and it seems like there's some, you don't got to forge that path alone, right?
Well, I mean, it's just a matter of to what extent they either don't care, or or they even worse about just washing their hands of it, and they're not doxxed and they don't care.
Yeah.
I mean, this is my full-time job. There's 4 of us. We have a health plan. I mean, our intent is this to be a business, and I have to as a U.S. citizen and in a very litigious society, you know, I have to be concerned, and I'd be naive not to be. So I think it's delicate balance between wanting, you know, the the purely decentralized, you know, hopium of the blockchain future, and then the reality of the society we live in today. And you know, just because I can say, oh well, that it shouldn't be that way, it doesn't mean someone still can't sue me into oblivion.
That's right.
Right? Yes.
Oyster, are you raising your hand? Did you want to intervene?
Yeah.
Yeah,
I have
please.
two questions for Patrick.
Uh-oh.
This should be not too bad. I mean,
Okay.
so you mentioned that you're going to be hosting an API, basically do like a query lookup service.
Mm-hmm.
What's going to be the commercial model for that?
Well, I mean, we've already talked to lots of integrators and partners, and continue to talk to lots more. But you know, the the RAN labs, the Pure Stake, you know, the Wafer Labs, all the the explorers, the wall integrations, like they're not going to be grinding the chain to do lookups, right? They're going to want to hit an API. So in the same way, like the Algorand wallet is hitting the indexers, it would just hit our API of like to resolve the names or the addresses.
My question is,
reverse
like,
lookups.
in terms of, will there be a commercial model? I mean, like, would that API be, you have to pay for this service?
Oh no. It'd be a public endpoint, completely public API, just like you hit Algo Explorer APIs.
Yeah, because that goes into, I guess, a second, not my second question, but a follow-up question. Because as we, in terms of the scalability, right, and also because it's a centralized, because a central point of failure, and you mentioned RAN Lab, they integrated. It sounds like at some point, I mean, I don't know, I don't see. Maybe they have plans. I think I've heard where they will have a premium service, right? Your free and your premium service, and that'll be perhaps maybe incorporated in the premium service. So yeah, because we don't want a query lookup service. I mean, like everything, like Algo Explorer experienced, growth is exponential, and we need to, just thinking ahead in terms of how to grow.
Yeah.
And support that
I
exponential
think
growth.
what would be cool would be good to do is because there's going to be basically a public API that our front end is hitting, and people could use that same public API to do things like mint, resell, things like that. But there'd also be many instances of portions of that for like the lookups. But I think it would make sense to package that up as just like, here's the code, here's all that, so everyone could run their own instances of that API if they wanted to, and then we could then have some way of having community run instances of that lookup API, because it's all on chain, so there's this mechanism.
I know.
Yeah, but the key is I think it is a really valid point. Like I'll definitely, I want to make it so that like I can upgrade my back end without like the API is going away. You know what I mean? And so that will be independent. Like there'll be a separate caching layer and database layer that's fed by the chain to handle those APIs efficiently. But at the same time, there's no reason someone shouldn't be able to fire up like a Docker image locally,
absolutely,
and
just
have the whole API locally if they want.
Yeah, I mean, absolutely. Just like today with the node, the Algorand node and indexers. But just something we don't have to solve it now. I just want to plant the seed in your mind to
100%. I mean, let's just say that I've got a lot of seeds growing right now, and my brain's getting pretty
Yeah.
crammed because there's so many things. There's still stuff we haven't even talked about publicly that I think people are going to be just like are going to think is just so cool. But yeah.
Oh, and I
I was
just
just gonna
had
say
one more
one.
question
Oh,
for
sorry.
Pat,
Okay.
and then I'll just go mute again. So one NFTs accounts obviously get lost. I don't remember if I asked this before. Maybe I've asked it in my head, but the question is like, is there a solution or a way to, or is it just going to be up to the owner? Like you have to protect. It will happen, right? Let's say some reason Chris loses his reach.algo credentials to the account that owns his NFD for reach.algo.
Mm-hmm.
And now he's, is there any kind of plan to have some kind of, for example,
No.
Yeah,
it'd be like losing your keys, right? I mean,
I know
you lose your keys, you lose your keys.
But the problem is, it's like now that domain is gone forever.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, I like, and this is, I maybe mentioned to a couple people, and I guess some people might get excited about it. I hope they don't get too excited about it, but I'll say that because of regulatory concerns, that I certainly have no interest in creating a token. That does not mean that we can't use another token. So, there could be things in the future where we allow NFTs to have some type of DAO mechanism for things.
Yeah,
that would be really, really
a
cool.
process put in place. I mean, there's where
being confirmed.
No. No.
Probably something with more decimals.
No.
Degen confirmed.
There we go.
That would be kind of funny, but
that would be so freaking cool.
Here, wait. Let me go buy a bunch right now. And then, no,
we're not looking.
No.
Although we do know your address. It's literally your name.alg.
But yeah. No, I mean that's the thing is there's all these sorts of ideas that we've had and talked about. There's so much that can be done, and that's why despite the honestly probably more legal benefits of having completely lost contracts, there's just so much that can be changed and added that make a lot of sense that I want to change and add. That I want to be able to continue to add functionality, things like DAO support and things that can be done for self opting into self upgradability and future aspects of the NFT itself being intermediary. That functionality has to be coded in, which means they have to be upgradable. So. I just hope that I think it's a matter of providing, utility and value from the community, and that's honestly I think what's the most important.
Yeah, just one more thought on utility and community. What as a marketplace, I'm personally really, really interested in trying to incorporate NFTs, right? Like I think that there's so much potential for right, like you build a profile once and it populates on every social media app, right? Like you kind of get not just the convenience factor, but there's also the aggregation factor. It can accumulate information or likes or content from your social media.
I was talking to one of the DGen guys in chat yesterday maybe, and it could even be used for for types of authentication and kind of private room access, because if you could say have your Discord handle added to your NFT as a verified Discord handle. So we would have like a bot that handles the verification process, where you sign a transaction and then you have to, issue some kind of, you're given some kind of challenge you have to put in to send to like our Discord bot that then adds that as a verified entity in your NFT. What that means is that you could go to someone's Discord and then they could have a bot that goes, oh, you're Patrick 8505 or whatever in Discord. It could do a lookup and the NFT APIs and say, okay, well, what NFT owns this Discord handle? And then look at the Algorand account addresses that are also verified attached to that NFT, and then look to see if they hold a particular asset. And they go, oh, well, they've got beans or whatever. Well, then I'd give them access to the bean room, right? And you would know they actually owned the signing keys to those accounts and had those assets just by their Discord handle.
Future is bright. Super, super cool.
I think we've had Patrick on the hot seat for quite a while. Patrick's been a good support.
Let's jump to
I was really hoping to get Algofam to jump in.
Yeah, to say real quick, I hope you guys understand that it's not easy. Like, I really do. There are distinct pros and cons to a lot of these things, and I hope people can kind of understand that my perspectives on these things.
Well, we'll talk later about KryptoNurd.algo, or whether or not I'm getting IRS.algo to nefariously use. All right. But Algofam jumped in, and I saw them in here and invited them to speak because I put out a tweet, and they got some kind of like mixed reactions from the team, and I haven't actually had any conversations with them, but I was hoping that they would speak to their project, for themselves, so that the community can ask some questions and kind of get some feedback from them directly. Algofam, are you on? Can you actually say hello? And there you go.
Hello. I'm on.
Hi,
yes,
how are you, Algofam?
Can you hear me clearly?
Yeah, Algofam, how are you doing?
I'm fine. Yeah. How about you?
Awesome. Tell us more about your project. Many people are very interested.
Okay. Algofam project was inserted on the part of impermanent loss, and the main issue about this Algofam is that DeFi is filled of many flaws, and most of all these fucking projects just keep on copying other projects. Like, if you go through the DeFi spaces, everyone just copy this project, give it a new name, and we can see this on SushiSwap. SushiSwap just fork Uniswap, change some codes, and establish this name as SushiSwap. So impermanent loss is one of the greatest issue on the DeFi space, and many people have been feeling like it's not possible. But if you look at it from an angle, that SEX, centralized exchange, that's what I mean by SEX, doesn't really have this issue with impermanent loss. And this is what the Algofam is all about. We are trying to mitigate SEX into the DeFi space in order to remove impermanent losses. And another issue is about the NFT space. So the NFT space also is filled with JPEGs. JPEGs are worthless, honestly. Normally, the NFT space as a non-fungible token is supposed to be filled with artistic stuffs that are really worth those prices. Now, the NFT space is just full of overhyped, worthless, I don't really know what to call about it. So we saw these flaws, and I talked to some of my friends about it, and we decided that, okay, let's map out a plan. So that is the whole concept of Algofam. That's like a summary about Algofam.
Can you please explain how you can eliminate the risk of impermanent loss?
Okay. I can't make it simple because it's kind of complex, and I don't really want to drop on the whole process here. But let's explain it. The impermanent loss occurs when let me first explain the DEX process. The DEX fixing price mechanism doesn't use order books. Order books are the traditional mechanism in which the stocks and brokers, the stockbrokers, the centralized exchanges use. An order book is just between buyers and sellers, like the demand and supply, basically demand and supply. But the DEX uses an automated market maker. Now, automated market maker uses the difference between two tokens in a liquidity pool. I get in. Now, these two factors are the ones that really cause impermanent loss, in the sense that when, for example, now let me say Algorand versus Ethereum. Now they are put in a liquidity pool. Okay. Now Ethereum skyrocketed 500%. Now Algorand is moving like 20% up. Now for that to like for the system to like mash it up, because right now there's an imbalance. There's an imbalance in the system, because it's like an ecosystem in the DEX. Every liquidity pool is like an ecosystem. Like now, so they need to be balanced. They need to be balanced in this ecosystem, because once there's no balance, there's a problem. Okay, so once there's a defined price difference, the other token is started to sell automatically. Like the price is being sold automatically, and this is what results to impermanent loss. But if you use the old traditional system, the order books, this issue won't result. But most people don't really want to think it's from that direction. They just want to copy the fact that, okay, yeah, all this use an automated market maker in order to assist their thing. Yeah, it have an advantage. The advantage of automated market maker is the fact that you don't really have to wait for another trader on the other side, because for a trade to occur before the inception of DEX.
So you're building a order book exchange?
Now, this is the way the centralized exchange works. But on the
I think the connection is not working well. Algofam. I think you're disconnected. Are you here? Can anybody hear me? Yeah?
Yeah, I hear you. I think
I think he got disconnected.
It sounds like they're building an automated market maker DEX, but I don't understand how the NFTs integrate into it.
Yeah, I got lost there too.
Yeah, I think I don't understand how he removed the risk of impermanent loss either.
I think the way he was going to do that was just building a order book system. I guess that's the solution.
That's not how he describes it on his white paper or whatever his. Now, here's what I'm concerned about is this Twitter account was created in June 2021, June last year. It was one tweet in June, nothing. All of a sudden, there's a tweet, and all of a sudden, there's thousands of followers. How many of us in the community ever heard of Algofam? It's like we all know, right? Twitter accounts, followers can be bought. I mean, it's a classic scam.
Yeah.
And this is like the big red flag, and plus all the promising the world with just waving hands and with nothing there. I mean, this is what I'm concerned about. Then again, looking at it as Colombo was.
No, you're right. We need some Colombo sometimes. And actually, I had a question for you, please. You know, like the headline DAO voting thing. You said you had some doubts about it. Can you explain a little bit? Because I haven't checked it.
Well, yeah, I was curious about that too.
First of all, it's not a DAO. It's again overhyped. I mean, it might, basically a headline. Aaron has changed, has pivoted. Initially, comes out with this forum, ALGO Cloud, and then he starts to pivot and starts pumping out what he calls product lines that are worthless, in my opinion. Okay, they're not product lines. He just puts a skin on something and then tries to market it to the community as this great. He has like this great product, this tremendous number of products. He's whipping up products every week. The team is working hard. They're hello worlds. They're they're what I would give to a co-op, to a junior developer, as a homework exercise.
I must say you are a very funny Colombo, my friend.
Yeah, right. Well,
Yeah,
this is the everyone get, and Aaron is a very charming guy, too charming. And it like and when he's asked hard questions, that I should say more questions that are hard for him, there he basically puts his foot in his mouth when he talks about his tokenomics, his plan of how he's going to turn headline into a currency, how he's going to transform Algo Cloud. He's building this Algo Cloud platform as a commercial product for enterprise companies and charge them $30,000 a month, and then use currency. And these enterprise corporations are going to use headline to pay for that monthly subscription. I mean, come on, again, that's just waving my hands in the air.
Just a precise question. Like, I get in general, you're not sold on that, but just on the voting system, have you checked it in details?
Yes, the voting. So what is it?
What is it? Yeah,
it's a hello world. Vote for A or B. Smart contract, and throw a web UI in front of it, so people see this web UI, but there's nothing. It's like a Christmas present with nothing inside, with nothing of value inside. It's has a nice Christmas nice wrapping paper, but it's like opening up the present. And
I got you.
It's like a box in a box in a box in a box.
Actually, really funny.
Many boxes.
I mean, I've heard this about Headline before. I mean, I always kind of felt to give them the benefit of the doubt, just to be supportive. But you do raise a lot of good points. I can't lie. And it does seem like they're kind of using HDL as like a catch-all for every product, but there's no actual like integration besides just logging in with your wallet.
Yeah, I mean, I can't think of a better word. Just bullshit. It's just bullshit. And here's another thing that bothered me. I happened to be on a Twitter space. I don't know if anybody here was on there, where he hopped on. It was like a couple weeks ago. He hops on, and somehow the topic was because it was all people were talking about taxes. So they think the person who's hosting crypto taxes. So the host there saw Aaron, and Aaron talks like he runs an enterprise corporation, CEO. So he asked Aaron about how's he do his corporate taxes. Yeah, and he basically again wave handing. He said, "Oh, my tax and my accounting team. I hand it to the accounting department. My team of accountants handles it." And then all of a sudden he had to drop off and do his laundry.
What?
No,
he was just doing his laundry while he was talking. I feel like he was just...
But all of a sudden, if you listen to his tone of voice, all of a sudden he's flustered, and the fact that he says, "I just handed off to my accounting department to take care of my crypto taxes."
But he said he's a finance guy. He came from finance. He said he's a finance guy. So I don't get it.
Oh man! Like, don't go too far, please. Like, just anybody can do his laundry. It's no problem with that.
He should have his laundry team. He should have his laundry team be doing it. Come on.
Yeah.
All right, but anyway. To be fair here, like, what as people who are constantly involved in the Algorand space, like, since it's so small and it's very interactive, we have the right to push back, but at the same time, we should have applied that to all companies. I feel like we don't give every company the same scrutiny, and if we're going to give it to Headline, we should probably apply it to every company.
Yeah. Oh,
Yeah, and
we
you
have
notice
you
that
and Oyster.
I'm probably the one that scrutinizes the most. I mean,
Yeah, yeah. I can prove. I can really relate to it, and I see that every week, and I like it actually.
yeah,
I mean,
because the bottom line is this: I don't want people to put money into projects that provide no value, or even worse, get scammed. Right? I want to see people deploy capital into projects that provide value and grow the ecosystem. I mean, that's my perspective. I don't invest into any of these projects. I don't have into these projects. I'm thinking from the ecosystem perspective, right? As a governor, I'm
Okay,
investing in the Algorand
question.
ecosystem as a governor.
I have a question. So, if we should pre-vet projects going forward, like doing a community due diligence, how would we do that?
if there was only a company out there, right, Ronti?
Yeah, that'd be a great service.
Indeed. Stay tuned. Citrus is coming.
KryptoNurd, aren't you putting together what's that? Seed Trust? I don't know if I'm mispronouncing it.
Citrus like the fruit, but yes, there is a T at the end because we want to engage the trust factor. Yeah, updated landing page. I was hoping it would be out yesterday. Roadmap with the updated landing page. It looks like it's going to get out Tuesday. Just dialing in a few things behind the scenes to make sure the information we get out is accurate. But yes, it will be a website where you can upload projects. The community can upload projects, upvote, downvote, give feedback, do research. If you have a project, we are encouraging founders to put their information on there proactively to get ahead of things like this so that they can put their LinkedIn, their biographies, if anybody wants to be an advocate for them, they can go in and put some testimonials to past histories or other projects they've been involved in. So yes, citrus.io is coming. It should have some features like that. Whole lot of other things you got to worry about, like bad actors or people spamming accounts. Is it's kind of like a Yelp type feature where you can put feedback in. We're tying it into wallets, but there's a whole lot more that goes into it, as you can imagine. But yes, we are actively working on that to help protect the community and get some accurate information out there. Should be very interesting. I'm super excited about it.
Cool.
Yeah, I'm super excited too, and it's really what we need, like a community moderation, and that's a difficult thing to do, but I think Monty is on the right path.
Yeah. I mean, that's a great idea. That's what we need, and maybe and just a suggestion, maybe to also. I think one of the problems on Twitter is people are afraid to post. I'm not afraid to post the criticism, but a lot of people may, because you're gonna I get attacked. If I post criticism, I get mixed, right? And actually now I it's kind of the tightest turn. I get more, I get less attacks and more people chiming in, saying questioning.
Yeah.
But
I got attacked too on Smilecoin. I got attacked on Smilecoin, from the price movement was weird, and I got all these attacks, and then everybody disappeared from those attacks one morning.
And if you guys are all wondering why I'm being quieter than normal, Twitter has now rugged me at least 6 times, so I have to keep coming back and asking for speaker again.
Yeah, I saw that. It's weird. Like it was you're in and out a lot. Maybe like the app on your phone.
Chris, you seem to have consistent Twitter problems.
I agree. I don't know what it is. Is it Patrick? Are you emailing Jack? Is that what's going on?
Yeah, I'm working on him, trying to get him off that whole Bitcoin thing. He's a tough nut to crack, though. He's die hard. But I'm working.
He's bribing him with Jack.Algo.
I'm sending him beard oil. I'm like
Jack.Algo.
I'll give you Jack.Algo and like this really fine beard oil.
You guys need more than beard oil. I know a guy.
Well, for Chris, I think we could, you could maybe send him some of your fine whiskeys.
Maybe I'll give him some beard.
Let's get Keatley up here. Keatley has been a speaker since the beginning, and I don't think he's chimed in yet. What's up with Dequency? What's the newest new with Dequency?
Yeah, what's up, guys? It's good to join you. Yeah, I raised my hand because Emmanuel was talking about Milkomida. Am I saying it right? Milkomida. That's a cool idea. I mean, something that we're running into on our side is just, for anyone who doesn't know what we're doing, we're combining music and visuals, and specifically NFTs. So our whole mission, our whole game is to create a legal solution and a creative solution for NFT artists who want to use music to license it legally. And then we're going to expand beyond that into all different kinds of licensing and uses, TV, film, video games, everything. But something we're running into is, we love the ALGO community big time. The reality is that for the NFT world, the vast majority is still Ethereum based or L2s on Ethereum. So we want to figure out how we can interface with that community. And we're finding a lot of the music NFT projects that are out there are interested in working with us. And they want to figure out, can we bring on music where it's on chain, but bring on music NFTs that have the actual music rights, the licensing rights to it. Can we bring that on chain and make that available for other NFT artists to be able to license it? And so we're just trying to figure that out from a technical standpoint. How could we do that? Because we're all on Algorand. So, I'd love to. I know you asked me to dive in with updates. I'd like to start with this question, if Emmanuel's still on, or anyone has an answer to that, or some suggestions.
Well, so how do you want to handle collecting societies?
Well, we're not dealing with public performance rights. We're dealing with synchronization rights. And there will be a public performance right aspect to it. And for those of you on here who don't understand that question or understand music rights, there are a number of different rights inherent in music copyright. There's public performance royalties rights, which are literally the right to perform the song publicly, radio, malls, restaurants, that kind of a thing, TV. There's mechanical royalties, which are paid for streaming and also CDs and records and that physical media. There's grand rights, dramatic rights, which are musicals. There's print rights, which is the right to print the music. And then there are synchronization rights, and it's called a sync right. And we are only focused on the sync right. Now, when we're licensing music for metaverse uses, NFTs, and sometimes there are uses that are on-chain uses that aren't specifically NFT art meant for that resale market. Like we're working with somebody right now talking about providing music for a Fashion Week Decentraland fashion show. And so that would be a synchronization right there. There is also a public performance right that is currently not being paid out of Decentraland. And we will be having to grant a direct public performance right for those uses, which we can do, which is also part of copyright law and part of the mandate with the public performance organizations. We're going to have to start with catalog where there's only one rights owner on the publishing and the recording. So again, just kind of going back 101 for those of you who don't know this, and it's definitely not obvious. Songs often have multiple rights owners if there are different songwriters, and each songwriter is published by a different publisher, and the recording is owned by a record label. You might have a number of different parties that have to agree to a sync right in order for that song to be used. So we're going to be focusing on songs where it's the same owner or set of owners that all have an agreement with each other that can sign off on both the publishing and the recording rights. So that's how we get around the societies, at least in the beginning. And then the grand plan, the master plan, is that we build a system that has such low cost and such a robust network and community of users of visual media content producers that we can sign on the major publishers, the indie publishers, and everyone will want to use this as a full decentralized marketplace. But that will take some time. It'll take a few years and some convincing to get that done. But at least in the beginning, there's a huge amount of music where it's a single owner for master and publishing.
Wouldn't it be faster for you guys to connect with Oblius?
I don't know about faster. I mean, they're focused on a different right, which is great, right? Like they're focused on selling NFTs, which is actually selling copyright ownership.
They are basically creating. Well, I mean, they are coming exactly the same way as you are coming, but they are in general taking all the gaps that has been surrounding music business since the last 100 years and fixing those issues. So if I were you, I would definitely reach out to them. They know the game. They know exactly how to swing this. And I sincerely think that you could bypass this by a couple of years.
Hey, Thomas, let me actually jump in real quick, give you a little bit of, I know Keely. So Keely's actually been a head of a, in the music industry for how many, 20 years now? And you're coming over and just, new, and you've already actually raised money for Dequency. So this is not like a brand new project. This is actually a really big deal. And I would say as big, if not potentially bigger than what Oculus is doing.
Well, thank you, Chris. And I don't want to discount that suggestion either, though, and I appreciate it. And it's definitely in my plan to reach out to them and see what kind of partnerships we can do. And there may be some solid partnerships that we can do. I think from our perspective, we are not trying to solve all of the industry's problems, and that's a question that we get a lot as we're telling people about this. And there are a lot of problems in the industry. There's a lot of money that doesn't get to the songwriters and the publishers and artists because of information gaps and many other things. And blockchain certainly can solve all these issues. And I hope Oculus solves those issues. That would be wonderful. We're not in competition with each other, though. Our goal 100% is to create the biggest community out there for the connection of music and visual content, art, and grow that business. So there are ways that we can grow together. I don't think it's in competition with each other. But you're right. There may be some things that we can figure out together that will help bypass what we're trying to do.
Awesome. It was just a proposal.
No, it's great. Appreciate it. But also back to my initial question, would love to hear anyone. How can we, and is Milk Almeida, can someone please correct me? How am I saying this right? Milk Almeida? Anyway.
Honestly don't know, so I can help.
Is this a solution, or are there other solutions where we can interface with Ethereum-based NFTs within our Algorand ecosystem?
That's a completely different thing. So what you're looking for is a NFT Ethereum bridge, and that's not Milkamada. Milkamada is a way for people to build on top of Algorand with Solidity.
I see.
So
all right.
They're different things.
They're different things. Okay. Well, anyone out there who is thinking about this or working on something like this, please let me know or let Chris know. We're working closely together because this is a problem we need to solve.
You don't need to come up here, but if you give me a 100 if one of the bridges that are coming through is a ERC 721 bridge. All right, so I guess we need an ERC 721 bridge.
I think Twitter keeps crashing again and again for my account. I hope it hasn't interrupted anything.
No, you're doing good, bud.
Yeah, it's all good on our end.
JT's up here. Are we gonna have a good time on Monday?
Hey, what's going on? I think we're gonna have a great time on Monday, but I guess that depends on what you're bringing to the table. No, I'm just kidding. I know I'm honestly super excited, especially with the release of Humble coming out soon. So I'm sure we have a lot to talk about.
Yeah. You know, we'll have a good time for sure. We'll talk about Humble. We'll talk about Game Jam. Probably maybe even talk about Monarch. Of course, we'll talk about Reach, and maybe I'll even spill a little alpha for other things. So.
Notorious alpha spiller.
All eyes were there for me for Game Jam.
Yeah, that's another reason why I'm trying to be a little bit extra quiet today and not spill too much alpha, because I'm saving a little bit for the AMA with JT tomorrow.
Oh, what about ETH Denver? I'm all booked. You ready to spill some alpha there?
I mean, it's going to be a great time. I think that's with the Algorand, both the foundation and the Inc. Pairing together to make a big noise at ETH Denver. It's going to be. I mean, they're renting out an entire a building. It's going to be like just an extension of the entire ETH Denver space. So we're going to be there. The Humble team is going to be there. Game Jam team isn't going to be there. They said that they're going to wait to make a bigger splash once the branding is complete. But yeah, we're going to be there. There's grants, there's bounties, there's everything. So it's going to be a lot of fun.
Dequency will be there too.
We're bringing the band back together, right? All right.
We're going to jam, man. It's going to be good fun.
Nice. ETH Denver is one of my favorites dev events of the year, and I always end up getting in some real weird trouble every time I go. So get ready.
Let's party. Oh, I'm excited. DGen week with Chris, huh? Love it.
Last time I was in Denver, I found myself in the basement of a warehouse in the middle of nowhere that was the creepiest, weirdest, like, rave thing going on, where when we decided to actually, like, we started actually like exploring. There's people like standing, staring at the walls. It was like straight out of a horror movie, and it was awesome. If Shamir's still here, he was with me.
Guys, I'm going to confirm that I have been to some parties like that with Chris, and I don't know how we end up in those situations personally. I don't know how we got there at like 3 a.m.
Well, that's Chris.
I mean, the problem is I always say, yeah, let's do it. When anybody ever offers anything, I'm all for it.
I left early. Like, I have to go work tomorrow. I have an Algorand event. He's like, I'm going to stay a little bit. Bye. I got to go to sleep.
Yeah, this is my Chris story. We were at NFT NYC together, and we go to, I think it was the One Of party, and Steve Aoki's playing down there. And I'm like, whoa, this is nuts. Steve Aoki's playing. There were like 200 people there. This guy plays for 250,000 people. And he's like, who's Steve Aoki? And then we go down, and he proceeds to go in the front. He's like, all right, this is pretty good.
And then wasn't just Steve Aoki, Don Diablo was there too.
Yeah, they were like DJing together.
I had no idea any one of them. I was like, all right. Turns out that people like these people. I guess I'm in the right spot.
Just to switch subject, I was watching like your interview, GT, with the YLDY CEO. Can you tell us more about how it went for you from your perspective?
That's a loaded question. I mean, to be honest, organizing that interview was probably the toughest thing I've ever done, which was very interesting. I felt like I was getting the runaround a lot. It didn't seem like they really wanted to come on. I kind of had to push that to happen. It was supposed to happen on Friday, but then it didn't happen until the following Monday, so a couple days after that. But otherwise, I mean, I think everyone that watched it kind of saw and got their own impressions. So I'll kind of leave it at that, because I do have my own opinions, but I'd like everyone to see all the information that's out there and formulate their own opinions on the subject for sure. But I will say it was definitely an interesting experience, to say the least.
Yeah, because I've heard that you had many questions you didn't have the time to go through. Can you remember? Do you remember some of them so we can probably discuss with some of the audience that know YLDY more than myself?
Yeah, I got to most of the like important questions that I wanted to ask, but I did have a handful more. But Seb just kind of droned on. Every time I asked a question, he gave kind of like a politician's like answer for like 15, 20 minutes on each question. Um, that being said, some of the questions that I didn't get to ask were more just like about how YLDY will continue to operate when like participation rewards dry up, you know, with the no loss lottery and things like that. So more just like technical questions about YLDY itself. I did have pretty much all the questions I wanted to asked about you know, their new endeavor with the esports and the new tokens and all that jazz. So the important stuff I think that I wanted to hear about, I was able to ask, but then there were, like I said, other questions like how the no loss lottery will work and so forth over the years.
Yeah.
And I wanted to ask how staking and everything else would work um, once the YLDY tokens are all distributed, because those are on like a 5 to 6 year distribution plan. So what would be the plan for all the staking after that? So those are all the questions that I had that I didn't really get to ask.
Yeah, I see. And what do you think about the two other tokens? Is it one or two tokens that they will add?
I mean, technically it's two, but I mean, one of them's a separate venture. Um, I don't know. I understand some of the reasoning behind it, but I also, you know, when I was initially buying the YLDY token, you know, when it first came out, some of those use cases were advertised as if it was kind of going to be baked into that original token. So
Oh,
I still feel a little iffy about the introduction of two new tokens, but you
hmm.
know, like the governance token and then the new esports token, just because, you know, we could see a much more supercharged use case for the YLDY token, but I also
Yeah.
understand. Um, you know, as a business venture, you know, they wanted to do the capital raise through the other token, um, which I can understand to some degree, but it also doesn't make me, you know, I don't know. I just wanted to see a much more useful YLDY token.
And also,
I
like,
feel like
it, sorry, it raises the question of the roadmap, like how far they went off of their roadmap. Like, were those tokens mentioned in the roadmap before?
Well, I made an analysis video, and I did talk about their dramatic change from their original plans, from what they originally told us when we first, ventured into YLDY. I mean, originally it was supposed to be automated market maker and all these DeFi suites, and now they're hard focusing on a launch pad. And I'm all about it, but it just depends on a kind of more being more transparent with the community is kind of my problem with them. They just kind of just change decisions on the whim and don't tell anyone. That's not a good way, especially if they're trying to build a DAO like infrastructure. I mean, they can't just change everything and then give us DAO power. That's not ideal. So they definitely need to work on their community management significantly more, in my opinion.
Especially
I
you,
agree.
you've been a supporter for since the beginning, since day one. I remember, right?
Yes. I mean, I'm saying that from, I mean, the Yes Sports thing, if it's a completely different venture, Polygon paid for it, like it wasn't like the YLDY treasury that was taken out for it, I'm all for it. And then it'll just bring more bridging and more opportunity through Polygon. Um, the YLDY strategy of just, giving it to more activity instead of like kind of like how JT said earlier, that does make sense. I'm interested to see how it'll play out though. Um, I've personally watched a governance token called Force just like completely get obliterated since it was listed, and that was AMP's governance token. I don't know how they distribute it. I didn't really look into it. I've been watching it pretty much die on Coinbase because that's where it did its ICO. Um, I'm very unsure how they distribute it though. I don't know if it was a fair manner like what YLDY was trying to do, or they just kind of gave it to the whales to dump. But that's just something I'm unsure about right there.
so. I watched the entire video, JT, and you did a great job. I felt like Seb was good at saying a lot, but not really getting any information across. But one thing that really stood out to me was when he talked about the esports scene moving so fast that he had to take the funding like immediately, or else like the chance was going to be gone. And on one hand, I see what you're saying. It's like you get offered a big check, like, okay, you want to take it, you want to get that funding. But on the other hand, Bilal, you're right. Like, it just seems like they've gone so far off their roadmap, and I don't really see how offering like esports NFTs is really like building out a DeFi suite on Algo. Like, that seems like the complete opposite thing.
I agree, and I don't think you can underestimate or take for granted the goodwill that comes from the Algorand community. You know, at one point in time, he came off a little entitled. You know, like, hey, we've done all these good things for you. Why don't you give us a break? Kind of a vibe, and that I just don't think is a great look. You know, probably could have used some coaching on just delivering the message there. And I'm with most everybody here. Like I'm a fan of the YLDY team. I think their products are good. I use the website daily. You know, I'm excited for what they have coming in the future, but I don't know exactly what they have coming in the future now, because it may change. So I lose a little bit of trust from that perspective, because I'm not sure exactly, like, okay, how much of this is real. And also, I just think they need better that community management. Maybe the ambassadors that they do have, they can leverage more, get a more high profile ambassador to kind of make sure that community message comes out in a more cohesive manner ahead of time, and they think that through, and you know, it takes some steps there to kind of protect the community.
It's like,
hey, Oyster, how are we doing with the YLDY? What do you think about it? We've been harsher than you.
Well, I mean, YLDY is running it as a private business. They're doing the way I see it is, they're just doing what's in their best interests. And from their perspective, for example, on Algorand through YLDY, I mean, the token value has dropped quite a bit, but they've in less than a year, they made quite a bit of, let's say, money. All right, what did they keep? Like, they kept like 40%. I think I heard it. 40% of the tokens as part of their part of the treasury. So
the team personally kept, like, I think it was like 12%.
I don't know. I think I heard JT said this on his. I mean, I don't know what the number is. I heard JT said 40%.
Yeah, to be fair, the 40% included, other money that they kept aside for ventures, even specifically in their roadmap, like esports types of ventures. Okay. So there was like 3 or 4 categories kept held into that 40%. So yeah, there was like 10% or 12% for the team, and then some of it was held for different business ventures, and which is part of what was also confusing, because it's like you have in your tokenomics money set aside for things like esports. So why are we doing another token raise? So there was part of the question for sure.
Yeah, and I mean, obviously, the way I view their esports Polygon, it's a different. That's a whole different product line, completely separate from Algorand, with a completely different revenue model for them. I mean, they're basically, from my perspective, they're looking to rinse and repeat and make another, and I mean, but that's what everyone in business is trying to do, right? They're trying to build a profitable business. It's not decentralized. And I understand JT's perspective, because it feels like if this was an SEC, right? I mean, they could be open up for lawsuits, right? If they misled the initial investors, right? There's a liability there, and maybe they're not really concerned about that. They're an Australian company. It's complicated, but they're like any business. They're looking to grow the company. They're looking to grow revenue, maximize profit, and obviously it seemed like this was they couldn't pass it up because of to grow their company, their private company.
Yeah, that's true.
I'm
Jacob,
not mad at them for being a private company, and I don't think anybody's confused about the fact whether if they own YLDY, whether or not they own part of that company. Like, You're right. They're private. They can do whatever they want to with it. They don't really got to ask permission. I just think that sometimes it'd be nice to,
Oh no,
be.
absolutely. I mean, what JT brought up, excellent points, because the way YLDY was sold, the pitch is that YLDY will grow with the YLDY as a company. So YLDY's company's growth will be reflected through the YLDY token, almost like equity. I mean, so that's like the mindset. And then all of a sudden, it's like they're spinning off. Like they're doing spin-offs, and none of that revenue stream is gonna, that growth is not reflected in YLDY anymore. So I mean, JT definitely, I mean, and the community, I think, has legit gripes. And to be honest, if it was, if they were a public corporation in the U.S., they'd be open up to lawsuits, by the shareholders. The shareholders would, if this was a security and a registered corporation, yeah, I mean, the shareholders would have a strong case for a lawsuit.
Yeah, and here's the thing. I want to say this real quick, that their move to take funding from Polygon to build out esports, why couldn't they just spend money on developing a bridge, building out the bridging protocol, sticking to the roadmap, instead of wasting money on getting basically a branding deal with like some random esports teams, to grow the YLDY brand. And all that really accomplishes is making NFTs, which is to grow the YLDY brand and the brand name. And then I guess the hope is that people know YLDY and then they go and buy the YLDY token. But I don't know. It just like doesn't seem to be really.
I think that's
backtrack
they're
at all.
trying to backtrack there, because here there's going to be a strong conflict of interest. Because think of it like this: if I'm running that business and esports, let's say, takes off, and they completely separate and they allocate all their resources on Polygon. They find out that on Polygon, I mean, it's a hypothetical scenario. There's going to be a conflict of interest there.
If the esports platform becomes popular, they become a popular esports brand. They become an esports team. It's possible that they just abandon the DeFi stuff and they're just like go straight into that, because it is a different business, but it's under the same hood. But it makes sense. Maybe that's why they made it its own token. Because if it ever got
please. Jacob, you were raising your hand?
Yeah. I actually just wanted to add on. I didn't look at the YLDY roadmap close enough. Since they're building on Polygon with esports, wouldn't it be a good idea to, make a YLDY, make a cross-chain YLDY on Polygon and have staking pools, not only on Algorand but also on Polygon, and make it much easier for the Polygon audience to transition over to Algorand.
Yeah, but Seb made that clear that's going to be part of the plan. I mean,
that is okay. I wasn't.
Here's another thing though, like when you spin off, right? Everyone always assumes that that's going to be successful and they want a piece of it and they should be entitled to it. But if you spin off, right, what if it crashes? And if you've tied your whole structure to your already successful platform that's got you in the space, and like all these esports teams have needs, and your team's ability to like deliver like safe code, I mean, that's what they bring to the table for esports. And who knows what the reciprocation will be in the future? Who knows? I mean, these guys are just trying to think like big picture, long term, and but yeah, if esports was like a total bomb and it was just the shittiest thing, you wouldn't want it to like suck YLDY down with it,
I also think of it from the perspective of like management, right? Like at some point, there's so many projects and so many directions that you're going in. Like it does take away time to like manage all those different projects and in all these different directions. I don't know. It's a challenge. It's not impossible for sure, but to me, like I'd personally rather see people in the crypto space pick a problem, focus on it, and solve it really, really well, than see everybody try to solve 1,000 problems in the the quickest way possible.
Yeah, I think one of the mindset was YLDY was it wasn't explicit, but it was people were treating it like a security, like equity in YLDY. If YLDY if people own shares in the corporation in YLDY, if they were shareholders, everybody would be happy because depending how how they set up the company structure, but if it flows into YLDY's revenue, shareholders will be happy. The problem is YLDY doesn't represent equity in YLDY. In YLDY, the company. So
Hey guys, I have to get going. I got to go make sure that my kids aren't blowing up my house. But I will see you all tomorrow, Monday. JT, I don't know even what time it is, but you let them know.
I believe it's 6
Bye,
o'clock
buddy.
p.m. Eastern Standard.
Thanks, Chris.
Good deal. Yeah, I didn't realize we've been on for about 2 hours, huh? We just got on a roll.
Yeah, it's been a great one. It's been a really interesting conversation. I mean, we do have to question, like, as investors, if we want things to be decentralized, or maybe not. Maybe they're not fully decentralized. But I think the important thing when the space is small like this, and you can have a call such as this one where there's 100 people, all with like a little bit of their own sphere of influence within this ecosystem. Even though not every company, like for example, YLDY is fully decentralized, they should still be listening to the community. And if we're their main audience, we're the power users, we're the people who are on these DApps super early. I feel like it's so important for those companies to listen to those people and not just go off in their own direction and expect the goodwill from everybody else to follow them wherever they go. Yeah, that's like, I just think that's just super important.
Yep.
And I think the Algorand community is really a group of kind and like thoughtful people. And that's what keeps me around. I think it's just really interesting and nice people, but it's not a community that should be taken advantage of. It's just, that's not how you treat a community.
Yeah. And this is a great a lesson of why decentralization is so important, right? Because anything centralized, there's going to be it's centralized. And this whole YLDY esports is happened because they have the power to do it, and because what's in their best interests. Anyway, yeah.
There you go. In case anybody's wondering, Citrus is 100% centralized. I own it. So even though it's a decentralized community, I'm still owning it. It won't be a DAO. If anybody's interested, though, it has been an interesting journey. I had to set up a company overseas because I had to set up KryptoNurd Industries overseas because they were releasing a NURD token. So I had to go through that whole process. I had to set up a separate LLC in Texas. So I've got 3 now just to get one project really up and off the ground. There's a ton of hoops you got to jump through. So if anybody wants to know what that process is like or how to go through it, I'm happy to share some information. Anybody wants to DM me or have a conversation about it, it's been a journey and a half.
Yeah, the amount of hoops just to launch a token is so ridiculous. Really, really needs to change. We need safe harbor.
Yeah, I agree.
All right, guys. Thank you very much for a very nice evening here from Scandinavia, Europe. I hope you enjoy your day in the US.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Take care, man.
Hulk Algorand. What's going on?
How you doing, my friend?
I'm fine. Do you have a question you want to ask?
How the hell are you, Hulk Hogan?
I'm Hulk Hogan. What's up, everyone?
Hi.
What's up, my dude?
Oh, not much. Just chilling, watching, checking out DFly and checking out some Algo stake at the minute.
Irish Hulk Hogan.
I'm from Ireland. Yeah, brother. What are you guys checking out? What are you keeping an eye on?
I mean,
I'm surprised we didn't talk about DeFi today. Actually, that price action was crazy, right?
Yeah, just talk
yeah.
off.
But come on, guys. Are we like? Is this the price show? Like seriously. I'm not even gonna lie.
we hardly talk about any price.
Yeah,
Did any of you guys
we don't come here to talk about the price, do we? Like
has any
everyone
of you
knows the
guys
price.
been checking out any NFTs?
DeFi, though, as a platform is pretty nice. I think it's going to be like the go-to, frankly, for anyone who jumps into this space that has even an ounce of interest in trading.
Yeah,
It's like the gold standard. It looks so
I'm
good.
not gonna lie.
It's not even out yet. It's not even out yet. How can you say it's the gold standard?
Yeah, I mean, to be honest, I've tried Pact, and I'm pretty bullish on Pact, to be honest, boys.
Yeah.
And not only that, they're going to pay us more in taker fees as well, too, because currently Tiny Man only gives you 0.25% of the fees, and Tiny Man puts 0.005 into the treasury from every trade. Instead of them pocketing that 0.05, they're just going to give us the full 0.3%. Which actually adds up a lot, especially over time.
More dexes, the better. Like,
yeah.
And is DeFi going to be aggregating dexes? Like, will they have multiple? You can have Humble, Pact, Algofy, AlgoDex, whatever, Tiny Man, and like it just takes the best price from anything. We really need that.
Yeah, well, more is better. Yeah, Tiny Man's very comfy dex. Like as far as like being user friendly, it's very comfy, and especially that it's got like the backing from like the Algorand Foundation. It's going nowhere, so it can only like progress. Everything else progresses, but as far as like more technical trading, you'd sort of rather use DeFi. It seems to be just a far better dex, but for the beginner, the Tiny Man seems to be the go-to. That's where I'd be sending any guys that get into Algorand. Check out Tiny Man. It's plug and play. Everyone's straight. It's good fun as well, but it's not fun whenever you get rugged. I've had too many of those situations.
My one prediction for ASAs is that as a general crypto market dumps, I think we might see an ASA renaissance simply because the difference in market cap is so vast that it's really easy to move the prices of some ASAs. Like I can't even lie, you can do it with like a few $100s.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've been buying Algo. I'm not passing up on this discount.
Yeah, I agree. It's a crazy time. Like if the market's going to crash, the markets are going to crash. It's just the quicker you get over the emotions in the markets and you realize what's in front of you, just accumulate as much algo as you can, because like I see Algorand as a minimum like around a $2 project. Yeah, fair enough. It's only hit $2 maybe a couple of times or maybe once, but it's definitely going to break that $2 mark the next time the crypto markets get into a stable condition and start to move upwards. I definitely think Algorand's going to have serious acceleration, especially that the fact that institutional investments coming into the Algorand space this year, with like PayPal, rumors of PayPal and all starting. Like this is only the beginning, especially if anyone hasn't watched that Anthony Scaramucci interview with Thinking Crypto. I would recommend checking it out because it's absolutely amazing. It's like half an hour long, and like I think I've watched it like 3 times, and it just gets me buzzing for what's to come with Algorand. I check it out, everyone.
Thanks. Yeah, thanks for that. Thanks for the put on.
What I was, how much lower can Algorand go since more than 25% of it?
The lower the better.
And a large portion of it is held by the Algorand Foundation. Like, is this like literally the floor?
I gotta go, guys. But I will be back next week. So thanks everyone.
It's hard to
conversation. Feel free. I just kind of I'm gonna remove myself from conversation now.
Yeah, I don't want to talk about price either. But
it's kind of repetitive.
Yeah, just
I think it's pretty interesting, just as the Algorand technology, just as we stay away from the prices and just talk about the actual technology. I think we're going to get a lot more adoption, just like El Salvador. I think it would be stupid for countries to adopt Bitcoin but not use the Algorand technology, especially if you can potentially stake the Bitcoin that you own with the upcoming Algo mints app that's coming out. Like people, so that's like the wealth, the money that comes into Algorand. They basically give the opportunity to stake your Bitcoin. So I don't see why these countries and institutions won't take that option. No other platform really gives you that option, especially if it's 1,000 times quicker than Ethereum. And it's like there's like zero. The fees are so small. So it's definitely there's a lot of big shit happening in Algorand this year, and I hope the price goes lower. Tell you the truth, I don't really care as long as I have Bitcoin. Everything.
I'm with you on that one. I enjoy these prices, so I can accumulate personally. Hulk, love the persona, the Twitter persona. I tried to chime in also that we've been doing some activations for NFT and some other projects. I linked one above now, and there's going to be some crazy announcements from Algofam in regards to advertising, I would call it. I don't know how you want to say it, marketing. I can't announce publicly yet. And also the project I linked above, they're going to do some professional athletes, NFL, and other players are going to be coming on board to the project. So stay tuned for some interesting news soon.
Right on, brother.
Fuck yeah.
I'll talk to you guys next week. Bye.
Thanks, Ibu.
Peace.
I think it is probably time to wind this thing down. Bilal, what do you think?
Yeah, I agree. Unless there is a few questions from the audience, and we can wrap it.
Wants you to appear in his next Rocky movie.
What?
Or just one last thing before everyone goes. If there's anybody new, because I heard people talk about Bitcoin, just reminded me. If you're new, you're not aware, Algomint has an incentive program running till I think the end of February. So if you bridge over your Bitcoin and Ethereum over to Algorand, you can get some nice algo, earn some nice algo rewards. So if you're interested, check it out. That's
okay.
it.
I haven't spoken the whole time. I just want to say that since we're winding down, if everyone can just like follow each other so that we can all grow and see what everyone's doing, that'll be great.
Oh yeah, please take a few minutes. Follow the folks. If you've heard somebody speak here today, take a minute to give them a follow. And I think everybody has their own opinions, but everybody's involved in the Algorand ecosystem, so it's good to get a variety of sources of info. And go watch JT tomorrow.
Hey guys, I know we're at the tail end, but I think this is the first time we've joined a Twitter space. This is Algo X Nifty. So been hearing you guys for a while. Just long time listener, first
What up,
time
man?
caller. What's
Welcome.
up?
Glad you made it.
Thank you.
All right, I think that's a wrap then. Thanks everyone. Bilal records these things, so he always makes that available on Twitter. It's also available on my YouTube space, so you can go rewatch it there. And reach out if anybody's got questions.
Yeah.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you very much, my friends. See you next Sunday, as always, and enjoy your week. Bye-bye.
Bye.